Well, good evening, everyone, and to everyone online as well. So, a lot of bowing, and I never look forward to all the bowing that we do during Fusatsu. I don't think never once I've looked forward and said, gee, I can't wait to do those 30 plus bows. And yet, when I do it, I'm in a different place after I've done it. I would say I'm, in a way, more enlivened, more concentrated. My body feels a little better, just that kind of thing. And so it seems that by throwing yourself into something like the bowing, all of a sudden you're more alive and awake. It's a little warm in here. The weather's getting quite a bit better. And I noticed that a few people were nodding off during the first period of sitting. And, 30 plus bows are just what the doctor ordered. Whether you feel like doing them or not, it doesn't matter. I was grumbling like everyone else, but I did them, and now I'm in a different place. And so many times in life, we surprise ourselves that way. I was leafing through a magazine the other day where it invites little essays from readers, and two of the essays were about exactly that. One of them was from a guy out west who said when he was young, he and his younger brother went to a cattle auction, and the auctioneer, against accepted practice, auctioned off a mother cow who had a newborn calf. And that's like a death sentence for the calf. But this guy and his brother decided, well, it's probably not going to work, but we're going to try to mother this calf, help it survive and raise it. And he said, if I had known the amount of work it was going to take, never, ever, ever, not to mention it cost money to buy the calf in the first place, but he and his brother basically slept with the calf, fed the calf out of a dropper. They had to train it even to take milk from a dropper. Endless vet visits, sleepless nights. Just sort of like with a newborn, I guess, but a whole lot of not very fun work. And boy, were they grumbling. But the guy said, well, miraculously it worked, and the calf grew up, and it followed us around like a dog when it became a cow, and we fed it donuts. And he said, that was many years ago, and when I look back on it, that was one of the nicest periods of my childhood. And it was nothing but aches and pains and sleepless nights. How about that? It's really counterintuitive. Aren't we supposed to, go for the cotton candy and the candy apples and the jujubes when we're kids? That's what makes us happy, right? This is a different way of looking at things. Another woman said that she lived in a very crowded house with her whole family, like 10 people in a small house, and her grandfather was in the terminal stages of some kind of lung disease, and he had to be taken care of. like the calf. And so she was up with her sisters and brothers every night, doing shifts and so on. It was miserable. And she said, all I could think of was, I just can't wait till I get my own place and get the hell out of here. And she said, well, now I've got my own place. It's a brand new house with beautiful, gleaming new appliances. It feels kind of empty and lonely and sterile. Once again, bow to the calf, bow to grandpa in the crowded house. And what happens? It's miserable. And yet, so what we find as Zen practitioners is, we think initially we're going off after the candy apple, enlightenment, samadhi, some permanently fixed mental state where nothing bothers us ever again. And instead what we find is it's throwing ourselves wholeheartedly into the practice, not going after enlightenment or attaining Buddhahood or anything like that. It's the simple day-to-day practice with others in the community that somehow deeply satisfy us, even though half the time or more it's a big drag. It's very, very mysterious. And so what we're taught by the great teachers over and over again is that there is no ultimate difference between the world of cause and effect and mud puddles and sweat and toil and the world of no right and wrong, no good or bad, no up or down, no life, no death. That those two worlds are never separate for one single moment. So if you want to discover the world of enlightenment, throw yourself into the world of cause and effect. Well, there's a koan about this, probably a number of you know it, about there was this old man who came to Master Yakujo's temple and listened to his Dharma talk with the monks each day. And finally, Yakujo cornered him and said, "Who are you who's standing here before me?" And the man said, "Well, I am not a human being. Many, many, many kalpas ago, in the time of Kasyapa Buddha, I was the abbot of a temple on this very mountain. And one day a monk asked me, does an enlightened person fall into cause and effect or not? And I said, he does not fall into cause and effect. And for that, I was condemned to live my life of a fox for 500 lifetimes. I beg you, Master, say a turning word and save me from this fox's body." Yakuja said, "Why don't you ask the question?" And the monk said, "Does an enlightened person fall into cause and effect or not?" And Yakuja said, "Does not ignore cause and effect." And with that, the man had an insight and thanked Yakujo. And it goes on after that. So what was it? Was it he got the wrong answer and was turned into a fox? Did he get the right answer and was released from the fox's body? Well, what about no right, no wrong, no life, no death? What about when the Heart Sutra says there is no life or death and there is no end to life or death? It seems that those things can't be true. It seems that those realms can't be the same realm, but they are the same realm. The commentary on this, the verse on this koan says, not falling, not ignoring, odd and even are on one die. Not falling, not ignoring, hundreds and thousands of mistakes. Odd and even are on one die. The world of cause and effect and the world of cause and effect are one. It's all empty. They're not different worlds. If you want to discover these realms, you have to throw yourself into them. You have to bow 30 plus times. You have to clean the zendo. You have to brush your teeth. You have to deal with rude people on the subway and at work. What's the difference between living the life of an enlightened being and living the life of a fox? Is there a difference? Are they the same thing? Ryotan Roshi says that the key to this whole koan is the last line of the verse, hundreds and thousands of mistakes. Hundreds and thousands of mistakes. Well, what realm is this? Is it the realm of an enlightened being or the realm of a fox? Hundreds and thousands of mistakes. It is the realm that brings us here today. It is the realm of practice. And this hundreds and thousands of mistakes is exactly what Fusatsu is all about. Because what is practice? It's forming an intention. In the case that brings us here, an intention to follow the Buddhist ethical teachings. And just like in zazen, we intend to sit still and let go of thoughts, and we go off into a daydream and we come back to the breath. Well, same thing with practicing the ethical teachings. We intend to keep the precepts. We break them maybe about 1,000 times a day if we're lucky. We notice it, and we come back to our intention to live the life of a decent human being on planet Earth. This is the practice of the precepts. In Fusatsu, it's about working with our mistakes. For one thing, it's about working with our own mistakes and the mistakes that have been made by all beings throughout space and time. It's about atoning, being at one with every single mistake, not separate for a moment. And then it's about those vows, throwing ourselves into it, throwing ourselves into the practice of the ethical teachings, and in the process, getting our ego and our preferences out of the way. And lo and behold, we are one with all these Buddha energies that seem to be out in La La Land somewhere, some place that's unreachable that we can never get to. And whoa, I am one with the compassion of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. Whoa, I'm one with the wisdom of Manjusri Bodhisattva. There is no Manjusri Bodhisattva without me at this very moment. And I'm one with the determination of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Well, no wonder we start to feel a little better after doing all those vows. We're no longer so separate from our practice. We're no longer on some impossible mission to get on top of Mount Everest or even higher and be an enlightened sage. It's not there. That's not what being a Buddha is. Dogen Zenji tells us that being a Buddha, Buddha nature, is actualizing Buddha at this moment. If you actualize Buddha at this moment, you're a Buddha. And the next moment is another story. And if you actualize a demon at this moment, you're a demon. So the question is always, what are you practicing? What are you actualizing? It's not as if Buddhahood is some unattainable dream that you'll get to after 5 zillion lifetimes if you practice hard enough. You can attain it right now. Right? Now it's the next moment. What are you going to do in this moment? It's not fixed. It's not about any particular thing, but we are guided by these ethical teachings that are based on non-separation, by the realization that yes, I'm little Rio, and I'm also the whole world right now at this very moment. The whole world. So to think that there is some difference between the practice of a Buddha and our practice is a mistake. To think that there is some difference between an enlightened sage and an ordinary person is a mistake. When an ordinary person acts like a sage, they're a sage at that moment. And when a greatly enlightened teacher acts like a shit, right at that moment he's a shit. And the funny thing is when you're a shit, the whole world starts looking like shit. Because what you practice and the way your world takes shape are intimately related. So if you practice Buddha, if you practice connection, the world looks one way. If you practice what too many people in this country are practicing today, it's a very different world, much scarier, much lonelier, much colder. Depends on what you practice, really. There's no objective world out there. You create the world each and every moment. So that's why we have the 10th grave precept. It's to disabuse us of the notion that there's some difference between a Buddha and an ordinary person, between a sage and just a guy doing his best, trying over and over again and making 100,000 mistakes, and getting back on the horse and trying again and trying again and trying again. And so it is thinking that there is some separation from Buddha and ordinary life, some separation between the Buddha way and the life we live every day. That is thinking ill of the 3 treasures. That is failing to appreciate the 3 treasures. So, of course, we have some wonderful commentaries on this precept. Bodhidharma just says it right out. He says, self-nature is subtle and mysterious in the realm of the one, not setting up dualistic notions of a sage and an ordinary person is called the precept of not thinking ill of the 3 treasures. And Dogen Zenji, his commentary on this precept is probably one of the most amazing things I've read in my study of the Zen literature. It's a little cryptic, like Dogen often is, but it's very deep. He says, the teisho of the actual body is the harbor and weir. This is the most important thing. Its virtue finds its home in the ocean of nature. We cannot explain it. We simply bow and accept it with gratitude. So let me unpack that just briefly. The teisho of the actual body. Teisho is a Dharma talk. And the actual body is the Dharmakaya, the body of Buddha, the body of reality. It's not out there somewhere. It's the body you bump into at every moment of your life. When someone steps on your foot, when someone cuts in front of you when you're online at the delicatessen, when a little child hands you a flower and smiles, when you mop the floor, when you fill the tank with gas. This is the teisho of the actual body. The world of cause and effect is this teisho coming at us, the boundless dharmas which we're supposed to master. And Dogen says the teisho of the actual body is the harbor and weir. It's the harbor, it's the place of eternal peace. It's the place of no life, no death, no Buddhas, no beings, no self. It's the harbor. It's that place we think we're trying to get to where we already are. And it's a weir. I've heard various explanations of weir, but the one I come up with most often is it's a ladder for fish. Originally, Chinese civil servants, they had to take a series of competitive exams to get promoted, and they were compared to fish going up a ladder, trying to get to the open ocean. And apparently this was adopted as a Zen metaphor as well. So monks trying to get enlightened are like fish going up the ladder, constant effort. And finally, on one wonderful day, they get to the top of the ladder and they become dragons, enlightenment. And then a rock bird comes and devours the dragon. If the dragon is lucky, and not a trace remains. The teisho of the actual body is the harbor and weir. This is the most important thing in the world. This is where we find true peace. This is where we transcend life and death by taking care of a cow or a sick old man, or just by shining our shoes. Who would have thought? It can't be explained. You have to do the 30+ vows and get a little taste of it. And then the Zen peacemakers, what they say is honoring my life as an instrument of peacemaking This is the precept of not thinking ill of the three treasures. Honoring my life, honoring it. How do you honor your life? Forget the as an instrument of peacemaking. How do you honor your life? There's no way to honor your life without honoring every other person on the planet, the ones you like, the ones you don't like, and the ones you're just bored by. There's no way to honor your life without honoring every single Dharma that somehow you have to master. That's somehow you have to jump, bow, go up the next rung on the ladder, which is taking you to precisely nowhere in particular. To think that there's a difference between the life of an enlightened sage and the life of an ordinary being is to defame the three treasures. What do you actualize in this moment? What do you practice in this moment? To penetrate one Dharma is to master one Dharma, and then there's the next Dharma coming at you like a baseball. Honor this. Honor this as your life, the life of the world, and the life of Buddha.